Hello and welcome to our All Together Dead live show for me and the Coffin Liveshow.
Ooh.
Is that the right book?
I don't know. I'm like, do I have the right book too?
Yeah, we do. We do. How are we?
Great.
Okay.
Oh, she's on the wine.
That's what
It's Pepsi. Oh yeah.
it looks like. Wine.
Cola. Other brands of cola are available.
Fire, it's fine. We support you here.
Here. Cheers. That's water.
Right, shall we start off with some general thoughts and feelings on this one then? What are we thinking?
We're thinking that the books are getting progressively better as we increase this plot, as we make our way through. We're falling in more and more in love with certain vampire gents, and we're having some awkward feelings about our current beau.
Very fair.
That's how I feel.
And how are you feeling?
I was thinking along the same lines as Sam. The plot I think was more structured and brought some of the world out and the politics of it all. So definitely sort of you can tell sort of the world's developing and the writing style's developing, and Sookie's the character is developing. So it was one of my favourite ones that I've read so far as well. I think it just sort of brought lots of things together, but then it's still leaving you with sort of what's going to happen now.
Yeah, and we also have some progress with Sookie. Like, she's getting more talented, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I think it's cool.
I think that this one's probably my favourite so far. I really enjoyed it. So much plot, so much politics, so much world building, but I didn't feel like the characters were in any way neglected. I think that sometimes, like, especially if you're reading a series of books, if it's quite a plot heavy book, then you tend to get a wee bit less character development and less time in your characters, and I didn't feel like that was the case in this one. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Bill is still a ball bag.
Yeah. I don't think that'll change. Unless has like a total 360 opinion and is like, we love Bill.
Sam, are you falling in love with Bill?
I have mixed feelings about Bill. I do think that he is a dick or a ball bag, as you said. But I think that we're gonna find that some of his feelings for Sookie were true, but I think it's time for them both to move on. So,
yeah.
To Eric.
What happens?
We are all different teams though, because I'm team Alcide, Sam's team Eric, and you're team Quinnan, aren't you?
I thought Alcide had a girlfriend, like he was on to a new partner. And we haven't seen him in a while, so I'm like, out of sight, out of mind.
Moving on, done.
Well, it's been like 3 books, so it's around, I don't know. But
Amy's still holding out. She's still
yeah, I can see that. He was a great guy, but I mean, he's not around. So, yeah.
So the first thing to talk about then is the Vampire Summit, because that's sort of the setting for majority of this book. Sookie and the gang are all called to this big vampire convention, which I just thought was a wild idea.
Yeah, it was like a trade show for vampires.
Right, like
Bill was there with his computer thing.
Yeah.
It's just like like a careers fair.
Yeah,
Tell
it
you all
was.
the details.
It was a trade show.
Do you not have data protection in the US, Sam? He's just selling a list of every vampire who's alive and where they live, isn't he? That's in a CD-ROM. I think that's when it sort of the boot aged a little bit.
I see it as like the vampire genealogy type of thing, kind of
Like
where,
Ancestry.
yeah, like vampire ancestry. It kind of is.
I need to join that website, Vampire
The
Ancestry. I would be in. I would start searching something like that.
Yeah, it's like it's basically Facebook. You got to check out, see where everyone is. So he made a vampire Facebook, kind of, except that people are on that list, whether or not they want to be on that list.
And it wasn't to see who was the hottest vampire, because that's how Facebook started, wasn't it?
Oh, right. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
It was a rating system.
Yeah, a rating system for girls.
At Harvard.
That's rude. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
how did everybody know this and I didn't?
Have you never seen The Social Network? Is it The Social Network?
No,
The film about.
I joined it back when it was just colleges. I was in grad school and when I joined up, but I think it was available when I was in college. Because it was Harvard only, and then it turned into like you have to have a school email address, and then there was like an uproar when they made it to the general public because they're like, I don't want my mom on here. I'm stalking my ex.
And you don't want those people who don't go to college on here.
Well, they're not actively, and I was out of college by the time that it really took off, and I was like, whatever.
Anyway,
whatever
we digress.
Yeah.
So really, Bill is going to become the next
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg,
perhaps.
That's cute. That's really cute. That's his new name. I like that. But I like that it was like a trade show because we didn't really know what the summit was going to be. And it's like, yeah, no, it's just a trade show for vampires. So it's like a social networking thing. Well, it's a social networking. It's a networking event.
And it sounded like so serious. I felt like in the build up
yes.
to it. Before we went and Sookie was preparing for it, she was like, I don't know what to expect. And then they get there and it's just like boozing with your pals.
And Bill hanging out at a booth, all of them like selling their whatever product they have that will help enhance vampire life.
I thought that was really funny. I thought it was
with balls, with like dance things.
Oh, I wish I'd been there. Wish I'd got an invitation. Well, I wouldn't have stayed for the end. Maybe just the first day.
Just to see it.
Stay at a different hotel.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. And then a lot of this book obviously revolves around Sookie and Quinn and their romantic relationship. So how are people feeling about that?
Do you not like it, Sam?
I'm like, he's not there. And even when she tries to I feel bad. Like, I feel like she's trying her best to be like spend time with him. But then it's kind of like it's like he's trying to keep her at arm's length. He's hiding something, and we know that he is. And it's like, would he have told her about his past if she hadn't kind of like overheard it in other means? You know, I'm not trusting him as much as, I don't know, maybe.
As much as from when we first met him.
No.
Now that it's become more, I do have a job of my own and I do this and this is where it takes us and this is where I've got to be. And maybe the way that he reacted when he found out under a cloak with Eric, but I would assume that's just a natural reaction.
That should be a natural reaction, but they did get together in this book, right? It was the first time they actually like slept together, so they're like a couple.
Yeah, but I think because he understands how vampires work as well. It was like,
Yeah.
how many times has this happened? Because if it's 3, the magic 3, there's always, I mean, this is the consequences of it. So I think he now feels like he's in a relationship with Sookie, but Sookie's also got this relationship with Eric, which was to protect her more than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, it's sort of Sookie being manipulated a little bit.
Yeah, he's getting a little jealous. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Quinn himself, but I feel like he's not as open as he needs to be.
I agree, and I think that Sookie can be quite inconsistent in what she expects for a partner and what she expects she should put into a relationship. Like, obviously with Bill, she expected him to be completely honest and upfront, and when it transpired he wasn't, she was crushed. But then she knows that Quinn hasn't been honest and upfront, and she's sort of feel alright with that because it's Quinn, but she wasn't when it was Bill. And then she was annoyed that obviously she felt like Eric maybe wouldn't make the time for her and wouldn't prioritise her in a relationship when he recovered these memories. But then Quinn's willing to do as much as he can to prioritise time with her. But then I feel like she, when things crop up, sort of just drops him a wee bit and is like, right, well, this needs to be my focus. And she's not really willing to put the time in. So it was sort of an interesting dynamic, because I think for the first time we are seeing Sookie in a relationship with somebody that is maybe more into her than she is into them. So it was sort of I don't know if she loves Quinn as much as she has loved some of the other guys in her life, and I don't know if that'll become a wee bit more prevalent.
Yeah, I don't think she does. I think you can see I'm maturing in our relationships from Bill being sort of this fairy tale idea.
He was her first, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, you never forget your first. It's actually in a book that I read recently. They're like, you want to be the first guy, she's always going to remember you. And it's like, well, that's true. Kind of.
You clearly had a better experience than me.
Well, Sookie definitely did. Than like any mortal human female.
Yeah.
And
we'll
then
just have to see how it goes.
Yes. So if it leads us on to talking about Quinn's past,
yeah,
how that came about. I feel like Sookie's probably one of the most understanding people at this point. And so I feel like we all had experiences drama of being involved in the vampire world that he could have probably been really upfront and she would have understood. I don't think she would have came from a place of judgment. And I don't know if that he was worried about that, or maybe if he was a wee bit ashamed of it. I feel like maybe at times like this is where I would miss it being a wee bit more multi POV, because we find out this big revelation about Quinn, but we only see it through Sookie's eyes. We didn't really get his feeling behind it, or why he wasn't just upfront about it. But I felt bad for him.
I was fine with this pass. So it's like, it's like everyone's got. It's not even that bad. At least I didn't.
When you shift into a tiger, what do you expect?
Kinda.
Is that what you were thinking, Sam?
Yeah, well, I mean, no, I mean, it was kind of bad, but it's essentially. I don't want to spoil things, but I also want to spoil. It's like he's basically in a
spoiler.
Yeah. It's basically like the dog fighting in the, what do you want to call them, werewolf? I don't know. And he was a part of that, and he was really good at it. He made a lot of people money. So he was like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's terrible, but I also think it's like, she's been through a lot of weird things. Is this really something you want to weigh against everything else she's put up with?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, I'm just like, overall with Sookie, is it that bad? I mean, you got staked once.
I think as well, probably with Quinn, because we only see it from Sookie's point of view. it's how much do you divulge to someone when you're in sort of a new relationship and you probably don't know what he's thinking, because it is sort of at a distance a lot of the time and travel involved, and so yeah, it would be interesting if you knew his point of view, or if at some point you find out what he's thinking behind it was. But I'm sure there's more to come. I'm sure that's just the sort of tip of the iceberg when they keep saying, do you know about Quinn? I think she's found something out, but I don't think she's found it all out.
Yeah, I think I agree. And I think that's what it's like. I don't trust him personally. Because, I'm affected by their relationship.
Because Sookie's not BFF. We need to look after.
Yeah, she's all her BFF. She needs all the girlfriends she can get.
Definitely.
Even though this happened in like 2008. We're there for her now.
Time? What is time when you're in
I know. We're there for her now.
We'll just go by the world of CD-ROMs.
Yeah.
So then,
mobile phones when
you Eric, you got a wee bit closer again in this book.
Yeah, we're making progress, and I like.
You're happy you are. You're just like so buzzing.
I like Andrew's theory, though. It's really sweet, I think.
I thought so as well. Do you want to share your theory for anybody who maybe hasn't seen it in the Discord, Ange?
My theory is that if we go back a few books, was it possible that Eric was thingied by the witch? I forgot the word.
Charmed.
What did we do? Charmed? Yeah, spell.
Charmed or cursed.
What do we do? Like, I'm a witch as well. What do we? Yeah, that when she cast the spell on him, it was to find his heart's desire or his life if he wasn't a vampire, and he went looking for Sookie. And I got all like, did he just know what he was doing? I've read these books before, and I'm like, why didn't I know this?
I've never picked up on that either, and it's a reread for me as well.
I probably made it up in my head, but me and Sam like it.
Yeah, but I like that. I think that's a great theory. I think that you're right.
I think so as well. It makes a lot of sense, and obviously Sookie's questioned, like, well, why did they come for me? And like he sort of asked, like, was I coming to see you about something? Like, how did I find you? Like, so I think that you probably are right. Otherwise, she wouldn't have slipped the tidbits in to sort of make it about you.
He's becoming more human. Like, he's not as, like, he's building emotion, and we like that.
Yeah, we definitely do.
I still think you've got to watch him though.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, I like the scene where he's like, "Where's the bomb scene?" And he's like, "That's my that's Sookie," or something like that. It's like, were you gonna say GF?
I love that.
We've had her 3 times. How have you experienced that? The magic 3. There must be something magic about 3. But yeah, definitely I think the relationships, I think with Eric, I do think he thinks of Sookie, but I think there's always something in it for Eric.
Yeah,
I'd agree. Mm-hmm.
Well, Sookie seems more resistant because right after, I think it was like in Dead as a Doornail, she seemed like she missed the Eric that she had staying at her house because he wasn't him. Like, he wasn't acting like Eric. But he was, I don't know if he was more his true self or if he was just putting on a show or what, because he was whatever, but charmed, thingied, hexed. Hexed. That's the word. But I feel like he's kind of I don't know. I think Sookie's, it seems like her because she's in a relationship now, she's kind of like, okay, I don't know how I really feel about this guy, but I do know how I feel about this other guy. Because I think she's able to evaluate like what she's looking for in her partner. And is Eric it?
I think Eric influences Sookie though as well. I think it's mentioned in this book because she's had so much of his blood now, and because he's such a powerful vampire himself, it's enhancing her sort of abilities to the point where she's going to be wary again what she divulges that she knows or what she can do. But he was who Sookie went to save her when she knew what was happening. It was the first room she went to. Eric and Pam.
Very true. We've obviously spoke a wee bit there about the blood bonding, so we might as well chat about that now. I thought this was such an interesting addition because it's not something that has really been mentioned so far in the series, or certainly not something that I've really picked up on. Like, obviously, there's been a couple of times where, like, people have maybe asked, like, oh, like, how much of Bill's blood have you had and stuff like that, but it's never really been explained as to why. Like, and so I always just assumed it was because they were worried, like, she was going to be addicted, because obviously it's also a substance abuse issue.
Yeah.
I didn't know that blood bonding was a thing, but I thought, like, that was so cool. Like, I've never read anything like that.
But I thought they mentioned it early on. They're like, yeah, well, I can feel your feelings. But that's where they ended it. They're like, I can sense how you feel. And they mentioned in the last book, because Sookie was missing, they're like, has Eric had any of her blood? So we should be able to track you down if Eric's had your blood. So that's cool, it's like GPS.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the things that Charlie and Harris does, though. There's these little things that happen, and you just think they're cool things, and then she'll go, yeah, but this is why. Like, this is, when you put all the things together, this is actually why. And I think it's interesting that the Queen as well, it's sort of her special gifts involved in our blood bonding and a siren of her vampires. That's sort of what her gift
she keeps all her wee babies.
Yeah. She has
I say wee babies, really, like grown adults.
Yeah. We call them babies.
I know they do. Oh yeah, they call them their children.
He's
your child. Your child.
Yes. I find it weird that they refer to somebody that they've sired as their child, and then, like, in the instance of the Queen, she fucks them.
Yeah, I know.
Gotta know. It's one of those for me.
Yeah, and then it wasn't like, I think, oh my God, is Alexander? Who's her little
favorite?
Oh, yeah, her favorite. I'm just like, I forgot how young he was. Like, the two of them are really young. They're like teenagers, and I'm like, I forgot about that, and I'm like, this is kind of weird.
Because there's a funny one-liner, isn't it, about how the most powerful teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want the Queen to throw a tantrum because she's still a teenager.
Yeah,
so you don't want a teenage vampire tantrum.
Imagine the hormones.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it?
Nature forever, let me tell you.
She'll go off on one, and you don't want that because she's still a teenager. But I think it's a fun dynamic to have. But she is like the queen bee, isn't she? She's the queen bee, and she's got all her little busy work of vampires. I just like the idea when Sookie sort of gives them the idea, well, just make him a king and then you can marry him. And she's like, ooh.
Yeah, I never really thought of that guy that I've been fooling around with that I made.
Now there's a space. So
your husband likes that Zuckerberg. I think that's the best. Hey, Karen.
Hello.
Hey.
We're all doing well.
Yeah, we're pretty good.
I don't think I have ever outpunned Simon. I'm very proud of myself right now.
He just posted that, and that was like an hour ago that you posted. You made that comment. That's a really good one.
Then Barry's
yeah.
that. I feel
Barry
weird
the bellboy.
Barry and no Barry the bellboy.
I love Barry the bellboy. He
I
even
do.
calls himself Barry Bellboy now. What more do you want in your life? It's a professional name.
I think Barry's a really fun character, and I like that there's sort of somebody in the vampire world who is like Sookie, and she almost has like a companion for when they're all being crazy and mental, and she's got somebody
Yeah.
she can do things with. I like it.
And they can conspire together. And they have like the same level of talent too. So they're like, oh, we
Mhm.
can tell.
Yeah.
But
And
he was able to keep thoughts from her or
Mm.
not.
I think it shows how they work, doesn't it? And that they do the even though they're both telepathic, they've got slightly different sort of talents as well. I just thought it was really cute that like he sort of confessed Suki was his like crush, because probably he's the first person that he'd met who was like him in a way. But I think he soon got over that when she was like, not going to happen.
I don't know. I think
Little
he's just
Barry.
hiding it from her.
Like a little.
They're
like a
running
little
around the
brother thing.
hotel going like, and he's
But
just like,
I just
nice butt.
thought, how random though that it was just like, oh, wonder if Barry's here. Barry, Suki.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to be able to do that. Yeah, and then also though that the dynamic where if the vampires thought they were talking to each other without them knowing, I think they got themselves into a couple of situations there where they were like, "Oh, sorry, do you know what I mean? We were just seeing this." So the vampires were a bit wary of having them together too much.
Because it's kind of funny because they don't need to look at each other or anything. They could just be sitting there, just staring off into space. You have these two people actually communicating.
Yeah, these long conversations are going on.
We're deep in thought with each other.
So yeah, Barry's definitely a cool character. Barry and Bubba, they're sort of the two.
Bubba didn't.
He wasn't in this one.
Yeah, he didn't go to the. He didn't make a trade show.
Entertainment.
He could have had.
Can you imagine how much money they would make? Him
just
being
standing there in costume.
Vampire impersonator. They would make in the money. You could marry people in Vegas. They've definitely like.
Was it in Chicago? He gets a
temporary
like. Yeah. That'd be funny though. We like Barry.
Yeah, I like Barry too. I think he's very funny. And then one of my favourite characters for the book, the Queen. Just so brilliant. I just love her so much. She's just like so badass, and like she knows exactly what she wants and how she's going to get there, and like she's no bothered about what she needs to do. She'll just do whatever needs to get done. And I just feel like she's so smart and she's got all this life experience, and I just find her so fascinating. When she's on the page, like I am completely enthralled.
She's something else. She knows what she's. No, I like her, but I mean, I don't trust her. Like, I still have like reserved feelings about her because she's just like, she's gonna abuse Suki in some way. I can see it. Maybe I don't know. I'm wary of her too. But
For sure.
It's like she has this whole, but she put on this whole show. I know you'll get to it, but for the trial, but she's kind of she's got a talent for kind of like manipulating people. And but she makes it so casual because it's like when she's really casual about it because she's like when she was going to meet up with that other vampire. She's just like, we're gonna take our time here and just loaf around the hotel room and just whatever, doing her own thing. I don't know. She knows what she wants and she knows how to get it. but she's manipulative. And I'm
Oh,
afraid of her.
definitely is. She definitely is, and I agree. Like, I think further down the line, she could pose a danger to Sookie, or she could put Sookie in a bit of a difficult position. And because she holds so much sway and so much power, I mean, the people who would usually come to Sookie's aid, Bill, Eric, Pam, like, are they really going to be able to do that if the Queen's going gung ho for Sookie? But I just think she's a brilliant character, and like, Bill's a ball bag. He's obviously annoying, like, but I don't feel like we've had throughout these books like a proper villain, other than maybe the Fellowship, but like no like a singular villain to like really hate and get your teeth into and enjoy hating. And like, I think the Queen could definitely go into become that. And I
don't
just
know.
love
Yeah, Elsie's ex-girlfriend or fiance, whatever. She was easy to hate. But
she wasn't a queen. She wasn't.
Yeah, no, she was a nobody.
No,
she wasn't anyone that
She
could
wouldn't
really
want to be.
genuinely pose a giant threat to Sookie. But so I'm kind of looking back at like the first book when we meet Eric for the first time with Bill, and Bill had a claim over Sookie, and he's like, "This is Sookie's mine. You can't touch her." But now Eric kind of would he just have to be like, "Here's Sookie," if something happened to the Queen? Like, if the Queen was like, "Sookie's mine now," can she just like? I don't know.
I think that's the idea, isn't it? That do this like trade people. What seems to happen, I think, what you found at the trade show and with the Queen, is that things are like traded. Vampires are traded between each other and things as well, probably depending on the hierarchy that you are. Sort of because it was like, well, that state's now mine, so now you belong to me. I'll look after you because you're mine. The sort of the vampire who went to get his bag, or the reason why he wasn't in the room when, spoiler alert, the massacre went on. But so it's that idea, isn't it, that you belong in a certain hierarchy, and therefore you'll do as you're told. A bit like living in England. You know what I mean? One day we'll belong to Charles. One day we'll belong to William. Who knows?
disagree.
I think your Queen will outlive everyone.
I know. Yeah. Anybody else have vampire, by the way, it's Lizzie.
We're probably going into places where we'll end up in the tower, but maybe that was the inspiration. Do you know what I mean? Young Queen.
Yeah, that's
reigning
true.
for years and years and years. That could be the inspiration for this ruthless queen in the vampire world.
And then obviously the trial is a big thing that happens during this plot as well. I was a bit underwhelmed by the trial, to be honest. Like, I really enjoyed obviously the build up to it, and then I liked that we had like this big mad weird vampire who's like pulled themselves out of a cave to come and preside on it, and I thought that was interesting. But then I felt
that was hilarious
really quickly.
The crone vampire.
And like, I know that she's obviously really well trusted and really well respected within like the vampire community of Bon Tom, and like the local in areas where she's helped them out with situations. But like this big cave dwelling vampire who's never met her before, just completely trusted her word and was like, "All right, cool, no bother. This is done now." And that was it.
I think this is it's another thing, though, isn't it? Oh yeah, the vampires like the crone because she used to tell them good things. Therefore, they made her a vampire crone, and she belongs to them. It's that kind of thing. But I don't know whether Sookie and the crone had some sort of more mystical connection. Do you know what I mean? That the crone recognised her for sort of other things. The most interesting thing about that is that when, spoiler alert, when she read the vampire's mind, when she realised that she wasn't reading the humans, she was actually reading the vampire. She was hearing the vampire. And so like how much influence the blood was having on her, and like how she needed to keep that quiet. because it'll change the dynamics, won't it, if she can start to hear what he's saying.
I actually marked a passage because I thought it was hilarious from that section. To answer your question, I guess that her handmaidens had removed her to her suite. She's brought out for special occasion. He says, like the good silver. She's brought out for special occasions, like the good silver. I said, seriously, and then burst into giggles. To my surprise, Eric smiled too. That big one that made multiple little arcs appear in the corner of his mouth. But I thought that was funny because it's like she's like the good silver. So they put her in like a little hidey hole. It's like, all right, we're gonna take her out of the hutch now. We need her for this.
Like the Queen Mother used to, bless her. The Queen Mother used to come out for special occasions.
I just thought that was hilarious. But I just thought it was kind of, I'm going to say lazy. I thought it was lazy that they just they're like, we're already gathering for this other event. Why don't we have the trials now? That's how I felt about it. I was like, why didn't they do this separate? It's like, because it took 2 seconds to do.
Because it's not, but we think of trial. It's like,
yeah, we think it's going to be this drawn out thing, and they did have like a court type thingy earlier on, but it's like, all right, yeah, well, everyone's coming up for the trade show, so we got to sell your knickknacks, and then afterwards we'll have a ball, and then we'll put the queen on trial.
Potentially have a wedding.
Oh yeah, they had the wedding. We have a union.
3 weddings in that one. 3 weddings in it.
Yeah, I forgot about that in the beginning. Oh, and then her friend. Oh yeah. Okay. Lots of weddings. Yeah.
Obviously, we get quite a
talking of weddings.
Yes, moves swiftly on to Jason, and he marries his wee hotshot honey.
Hotshot honey, yeah. And Sookie has certain reservations is the word. Yeah, she's like, and I kind of feel it too. I mean,
for sure.
But only because Sookie feels it, because we don't really get to know her at all. And it's like, what do you?
Yeah. But I think for Jason, it makes him feel like he's being accepted into this community now, and it's probably Sookie not understanding how much Jason's probably changed and what he needs. But I thought it was funny. It was just like a phone call. Yeah, come on over. We're getting married.
Oh yeah.
That's just so Jason, though, isn't it? Like, it's so spot on for his character to just be like, "Oh, aye, this is happening." Like, no forward planning.
But they kind of threatened them too, because it's like he can't wander, because what are they going to do to him? That's scary. It's like, what is?
And then Sookie having to sort of stand for him as well. So it's like, okay, what does that actually mean? What am I getting involved with?
Yep.
Yeah. Because her brother has like the most active libido of anybody in the area.
Yes.
So now he's hitched.
I agree, though. Although if I was Sookie, I wouldn't be able to hold my tongue quite in the same way as she's been able to. Like, I think she did very well at being like, right, well, I don't think that this is the right call, and it's not the decision I would make. But like, if Jason's fine with it, then I'm going to support him. Whereas I'd be like, you are an idiot, by the way. Like, we need to talk about this because you can't be doing this.
Yeah, get on the bad side of the in-law right away. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of feel that way. I think what would happen in my family is that they'd all gossip about her. Be like, we don't like her.
She's the one that
she only has Jason. That's all.
As soon as she was away for a family event, then they'd be like, "Oh, we hate her, by the way." Like,
hi.
Kick me out.
Oh no.
Amy, hit that button.
we're just talking about Sookie being very reserved in her feelings.
She is. But everyone's getting married, and I think that that's kind of like it. As a single gal, as the only single gal in this chat, it's like, yeah, it gets kind of like a lot of pressure put on you to be like like, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? Are you seeing anyone?
I think she'll definitely get a look at that in her like wee small town as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That'd be horrible.
That's what you get when you have. I mean, she doesn't have family. Like with Jason, Jason's all she has left. Pretty much, because she had a cousin that we found out about, but she's gone.
Yeah, there's really no one
There's
else.
literally no one else in her life. But the townspeople, everyone knows Sookie. So yeah, they're all in her business, which is really annoying. Like, stop. And she can hear their thoughts. It's like, leave me alone. Let me date my Bengal tiger.
I feel like Sookie's like quite into Quinn when he's a cat still. In a way that I find a wee bit unsettling.
She loves cats.
She's
a
like,
cat
"Oh,
person.
Jam that tail." I'm like, you need to calm down, love. Like, he's a tiger right now.
Well, Bubba loves cats.
Oh my god. Imagine.
What happens if Sookie ends up with Bubba?
That's what I'm. No, what if Bubba
No,
goes after Bob? We don't want Bubba going after Bob.
I was thinking more about if they're both cat lovers.
No.
Anne's just gonna choke on her Coca-Cola.
I should really think my thoughts through.
I don't feel like Bubba and Sookie would be a good fit.
No.
It would be very cute.
Would be a bit of a plot twist, but there you go.
It would be too much of a plot twist.
This is why I'm a reader, not a writer.
It's like, now suddenly, Sookie's in a relationship with an old icon.
And you need to write that fanfic. Like,
Actually, that would be funny.
Like, I need to see this.
Yeah, actually, that would be really funny.
It would.
That would be great.
And then we've got a wee bit more mystery elements throughout this book. I felt like, in terms of like what was going on in the hotel, we got like sort of loads of different wee clues as the book went through, before we found out like what was going to go down. And I really enjoyed that. I feel like for the past couple of books, it's just been like one thing has happened, and then we're sort of trying to find out either who has done that thing or why that thing has happened. Whereas this one, it felt like the mystery was ongoing in a way that it hasn't felt like for the past few books. And I really enjoyed it. It felt really refreshing in a way.
I felt like she was kind of ignoring some clues along the way. It's like, you don't find this fishy that someone's just randomly calling about the baggage and then suddenly there's like a coffin. But I think that she kind of glazed over. I mean, they had a lot going on, but still, I'm like, this is like slapping you in the face. You may want to not go down to that luggage where, I don't know, that loading dock and
tell someone that you're not too sure what's going on here.
You see the luggage still sitting there, and you're like,
she chastised Barry for not telling her in time. What he was thinking. Poor Barry. I mean, he's new to all this. It's book 7 for you, Sookie.
I thought like
she's doing the same thing.
Was so funny. Like, and I know it wasn't meant to be humorous, but just like her being like so angry that somebody has littered. She's like, vampires don't even eat, and somebody's not only brought food up to their floor, but like has littered, and she's like raging about it. And that she picks up, and then she's like, "Oh shit, that's me a can of cola." And I just love that her first instinct was to be annoyed, like that somebody had littered. And that's just so sookie.
Be annoyed and tidy up. Yeah.
I like the scene, and then they send up the robot just to like, what the hell did that do? They're like, it like looks at them and then backs out into the. It's like you have a bomb threat, and then you have like, you send up a robot. I was so confused. Is it like a camera? It had to have been a camera, but it's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. I think there is some of the things are a little like tongue in cheek to the different genres, aren't there?
Aye, that was very clearly making funny, like so many action movies.
Reading the short story that follows this story, it's kind of like the Sookie detective agency. Sookie and Amelia solving mysteries.
Witchy detectives. I would read that as a series.
Yeah, Sookie Stackhouse, the detective, and it's like she's got to start charging people for this stuff. It's like, Sookie, I need you to look into this.
I know, okay. She's just like, yeah, I need bother.
Yeah, all right. I've got time to kill.
And Sam's still like, I'm not a waitress. Like, okay, yeah, again, no turned up for her shift.
Yeah.
We'll get someone to cover for you, Sookie. Go on.
As if. So the last point before we sort of go on and talk a wee bit about the short story is just about Ball-Bag Bill. I sort of feel like that he was like a huge part of this story. No. I did enjoy that. Again, he was just there in passing, but I feel like again we were getting the vibes for Sookie that she is very much still in love with Bill.
I think that Bill got that too.
He should be called Sucker Ball-Bag Bill now.
Next time, definitely.
Sorry, Sam.
Oh, fine, whatever. I can forgive. But I think at that moment in the end when she found him, like he's like burning and charring or whatever. It's like, oh, and he's like, you still care about me. He's like, well, she doesn't want you dead. I mean, she's pretending that you're dead. But like you don't exist in her life, but still it's like, oh, I don't know. I felt for him, but
did you? See, I'm like
a little bit. I mean, I want her to get with like Eric. I want to see.
He's like, leave him in
more.
The sun.
Oh, no. I felt bad. I don't want to kill them. I don't want any of them dead, even the ones I didn't like. It's like, oh, but Bill, I don't know, because I mean that's her first partner, and they have a history, and that made me feel bad for him.
I do think that Charlene Harris is very good at that. Like, we know he's a flawed character. We know he's done all these things to Sookie, but I do think she tries to write him with like, so that as a reader we might give him some grace and compassion. I obviously didn't, but like I think that she definitely intends for you to feel like that, and I think that that's done really well.
Yeah, it's like Sam said, that you find out that it was his job really to come and find Sookie and find out about her, but whether sort of other things have happened and it became more than that for him, and then he's lost Sookie because of how he was introduced to Sookie in a way. But yeah, he's still a ball bag. But yeah, yes, I wouldn't have left him in the sun either, Sam. I would have covered him up with a blanket as well.
Yeah, but she was like covering him with herself too, right? It was like,
yeah.
Mom, I feel bad.
Oh.
Well, I did.
But you didn't go to his room first. You went to Eric's room
like
first.
whack the
Yes.
marshmallows out and
Yes.
start toasting marshmallows with me burning body and.
I know
But
we're
I
supposed
thought
to
it
be
was
talking about Bill, but
Yeah,
how
Bill.
funny when she fell out of the window with Eric.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I forgot he could fly.
I thought it was funny her trying to get to wake them up. She's like, they're not in their coffins, they're in the damn beds. And Eric and what's her name? Pam.
Pam.
They're like, she can't get Pam up. She's like, well, Eric's older, so he might be able to wake up. And I'm like, is that a knock at waking up in the middle of the night for?
Not such a
But
big
even
sleep
he's
as
like,
you get on.
yeah. It's like he can barely like keep his eye. He's like, I can't stay. He can't stay awake. But it's so sweet. I didn't realize that they just like completely shut down. So it's
She
not a
talked about
nice
that
as a
as well.
vampire.
Doesn't she that when they've got nothing to do, it's like playing The Sims. They'll just stand there like, what do you want us to do now?
Oh yeah. That's creepy though. They're on pause. It's like, go back to your coffin.
And then short story. I really liked it. I thought it was great.
I forgot to read it.
Right? At least it wasn't even
Be gone.
I can't remember the vampire's name, but we got a new vampire in town.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I forgot his name, and he's very young and he's very new too. So they're like, "Why didn't you report to the sheriff?" And he's like, "What?"
He's like, was I meant to? Like, nobody's told me.
I don't know any of this shit. It's like, I'm just draining this girl, and he's not even like relevant to the mystery.
No, he's just like a side character.
Yeah. But Bill was there to rescue Sookie again. So it was like, but that's another thing from the end of the book. It's like Sookie has become, it's like the damsel in distress, but the vampires they were super vulnerable at the end of that book. So it was like a role reverse. Because it's always like in here, you get Bill to the rescue again, and like, again. But kinda. But
they touched on that, didn't they, about the fact that they know they're not immortal, but they've just become so used to being sort of in the shadows, therefore the top of the pecking order, that they don't consider humans to be a threat.
yeah.
So that was sort of coming through at the end. Sort of all these humans are in here, but no one's checking who they are, where they've come from. They just wanted to sell them things at their vampire show. So yeah, definitely a change. Would
Became
you
a
mention
caste thing though, kind of, because it's like the
Yeah.
vampires are immortal; they can take care of themselves, and then the people are like, the humans, we take care of our own, and I think they said that in so many words.
We haven't mentioned it either, but what did you think about Pam and Amelia flirting in the lot?
Oh yeah,
I was down.
Go Pam. Go Pam. I love the fact that when Pam's at work, she's sort of described as this like vampire type. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Victorian vampire. And then when she pops to the lots in her slacks and a little cardigan.
Yeah.
I love how it's sort of completely two opposites.
I know. I love Pam so much. She's one of my favourites. I think she's great, and I would like really ship her and Amelia.
I was gonna say, I was like, I'm shipping them.
Amelia's sort of got this like unspoken rule in place where she's going to try and no date guys for the sake of Bob the cat, which is a bizarre thing. So like, I think Pam could be a really good option for her, and I'd ship it.
I think it's one of the things that people probably don't talk about, that the Sookie Stackhouse stories, that all the vampires is sort of sexually fluid and gender fluid, has been mentioned. That, do you mean they don't identify as being a male or female vampire? They're just vampire, I think. And so I think that's sort of not talked about really as much because it's just so subtly done. I think intentionally done, but just so subtly done in there.
It was like in this, I think it was the second book when they go to the orgy with Eric, and he was like, you know, he was being Eric. He's like, this is nothing. It's like, but he's like, he's ready to go with anyone. He's like, I'm down to clown or whatever they could like this. Whatever the vampire expression is. But yeah, you get that. Except for Bill, he seems very much as someone coming from the Civil War.
Yes, maybe because he's sort of younger, isn't he? Maybe
he is.
He's sort of younger to it, but yeah, it's just so fluid, the vampires' sort of lives.
But Bill still seems like he's trying to make Sookie jealous too.
Definitely.
It's like, I have this girlfriend, and I know you don't like her, so I'm going to bring her around all the time. And then, was it in this book where, what's her name? Celia? What's her name?
Yeah, it's Celia, isn't it?
Is it Celia? It starts with an S. It's with an S though. It's spelled funny. She shows up because she knows that she's gonna be traveling with Bill, and it's like, yeah, he's gonna be in a coffin. he's in the steerage. He's like, he's
At one point, didn't she ask Sookie's like tips of dating a vampire or something? Like,
yes,
yeah, I think that was like when they first started.
Yeah,
and I wonder like how much of that is her genuinely wanting to get tips about dating a vampire because she's really into Bill, and I wonder how much of that is Bill, you know, sort of feel like putting thoughts into her head and urging her to go see Sookie type thing.
Oh yeah, going back to the blood bonding, maybe it's like Bill kind of like manipulating Celia in a way to like get more information from the Sook.
Yes, the Sook.
So well, I'll go and read the short story now. I'll do my homework.
Oh yeah.
We're moving on to From Dead to Worse next.
I don't think the main arts is one of the pictures in book 2.
Wow.
How pretty is that?
I know.
I love those cartoon covers.
It's cute. Well. I was looking at this one and I was like, oh, I understand it now. This is the scene at the end, and I was like, I don't know what's going on there, but
now you do.
Yeah, now I get it. And it's like, oh, that's really sweet. So now I'm like,
Oh, I've just read something on the back that I forgot. So I'm like, oh, I forgot that. That's the thing about having such a bad memory. I can reread things and still be shocked and surprised.
In the new book? Should I not read the back? Will I be spoiled? I'm afraid of being spoiled. At least the audiobooks, they stopped doing that thing where they're like, okay, in the next book, here's the whole plot. Or here's the clip of the plot. I'm like, thank you. But now they're like, here's other work from Charlene Harris. It's like, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Although the book,
I don't know what I'm going to.
Sorry. Yeah, the books have the first chapter of the next selection in it, which is.
Oh.
I had the book, so I'm not going to read it.
Mine doesn't. Mine just stops. Going back down to one book a month, though.
Yeah, I know that'll be tough, I think. But then with a short story at the end of this, gift wrap is the next short.
And I went to
this one.
I went to the library and had some True Blood graphic novels that I've never seen before, so I brought them home with me. Like with my library card, I didn't steal them from the library. We are sitting there like, I brought them home.
I think they'll let you borrow them for a couple of days.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
If they're good, you need to let me know.
Oh.
Let me buy some.
I didn't know there were any. That's really cool.
Me either.
Yeah.
I have to
I
look
didn't
them
either.
up.
I've seen them on the shelf in the library, and there was 4 of them. And then by chance, they had the other 2 in the young adult section. And I don't normally wander around that way, but I did. It's like fate knew I needed to read these graphic novels. So yeah, grabbed them.
Yeah, they're
Like
probably
gone.
the same
Away.
books. They might be the books, but like illustrated.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
wonder if there's
And the
a
illustration,
there's
the
an
illustrations.
illustration to that dress for the last book. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
string.
Hold on a second.
Oh boy.
The sort of because the sort of drawn like the TV characters
Mhm.
Oh.
more than the.
Oh.
In the book characters.
So I'll
Okay.
look out for a green dress. When I'm
Yes.
finished, I'll go and flick through all 6 of them.
And snap a picture of it.
Yeah.
We'll need to see that.
I'm not really a graphic novel reader
Yeah.
either, so but
They're fun.
they'll be fun.
Definitely.
Meant
I
to
have
be.
to look this up.
Thank you everybody for joining.
Yes.
It's been another
Woo.
good chat. I think I'm
We
going to
just chatted.
read this right away. I
I'm
think I'm going to hold off and read it later in the month.
Yeah. I mean, I borrowed the audiobook, but I physically have the book, so I'm like, I think I want to wait till the end of the month and then to the next book.
Yeah.
I think that's what
I've been listening to the audiobooks as well. As having the physical book because the narrator's really good.
Yeah, she is good. Well, that's it for Sookie Sackhouse.
Yes. Thank you very much for coming, guys.
Yay.
Hopefully
This was fun.
everybody enjoys the next one.
I hope so too.
Bye.
Bye. Oh.